Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome. Today is Friday, September 8th, 2023. My name is Jeremy. This is my first cup of coffee. Oh, I didn't open the lid. There we go. Well, what is going on? I hope you are well. It's been a couple weeks, and it's been a couple weeks because I messed up last week. I forgot about the show. I'm such a habit person, such a person who needs to get into those sort of patterns that I had put myself in a different morning pattern and didn't leave space for Friday. But should be good to go now. Got a couple reminders. Frank even reminded me last night. We should be good to go. Who is here? I see a bunch of you in the chat. Good morning, Frank. Good morning, Dennis. I know there are more of you here and just want to say hello and good morning and shout out to all of you, whether you're watching live or perhaps you're watching later or maybe even listening. Glad you're here. Thank you so much. Well, what's been going on? What are you looking forward to? I'll give you some updates on what's going on in my life. And, feel free to chime in. I want to hear what's going on with all of you because this is the main time that I hear from so many of you. So, well, the first thing that I will tell you is that things have been very busy. Working on getting a number of new initiatives put forward, as well as getting ready for Free Training Day. Mid-Atlantic is in 2 weeks. I leave in 2 weeks. Just a month after that, I'm in Seattle, Tacoma, technically, for Free Training Day Pacific Northwest. And then we've got, it's 2 months from tomorrow, Marshall Summit. So it is busy over here. We are cranking away. Good morning to you, Jenny. Dennis says, looking forward to hearing about Central Vermont Martial Arts Week 3. Well, yeah, I can tell you about that. So Wednesday was the third week of my new martial arts school. Wednesday also celebrated 40 years of martial arts training for me, which was pretty awesome that they coincided. And we've got a great group. We're going through a bit of a heat wave. Actually, hopefully we're done with that as of last night, but I digress. The building that we're in is old and doesn't have air conditioning, and a number of people didn't show up because it was hot, but most of them did. And when I got to the space, I went, you know what? There's a basement, and we get use of the basement. Let me go see how bad it is, because I'd only been down there to use the bathrooms. Took a couple rounds of sweeping, but I got it cleaned up, and it was 20 degrees cooler down there. Other than short ceilings, wasn't a big deal. Now, I'm really enjoying teaching. I'm loving having students because I get to present material in an ongoing basis. So when I teach seminars, it's one and done. I've got to get them to the point I want to get them to by the end. That's a lot of pressure. There's a little less pressure here. But I also get to experiment and say, hey, try this. Nope, that didn't work. All right, we're going to move on. Oh, excuse me. Good morning, Andy. But people are having fun. There are lots of smiles. People are learning. Those are the two check boxes that I have. And it's been a long time since I had my own students. So it's making me better. And what's wrong with that? Frank says he's on staycation, went swimming yesterday, and he's been walking the dog every morning. Awesome. It's great. Anything else to report over there? I don't think so. I'm hoping that a number of them will come to Marshall Summit. Half of the students have prior martial arts experience. I've got, let's see, there's a guy he's a third dan in Taekwondo. There's a guy who's just shy of a black belt in Aikido. There's somebody who was an advanced rank in Tang Soo Do. It's kind of neat. So I've been letting a few of them know one-on-one about Marshall Summit. I don't want to tell the newbies about Marshall Summit yet. That's might be a little overwhelming for them, but give it a month. Yeah. Because the way that I'm teaching them, the diversity of stuff that I'm giving them, they'll be able to handle Marshall Summit. Good morning to you, Nathan. And what's going on this weekend? Well, last weekend had a big yard sale because, as some of you know, I am working on selling my house. And the realtor is going to be here today, and we should be signing paperwork to get it on the market, and we will see what happens. Shout out to some friends who came and helped me run a 2-day yard sale in the heat on one of the nicest, if not the nicest weekend we've had all year. So appreciate that. And this weekend, it's going to be rainy and got some social commitments. It's funny we call them social commitments. It's more of an opportunity. But I got some stuff going on with some friends, and we'll see where that takes me. How about you guys? What are you doing this weekend? What do you have happening over the next couple of days? Today's an interesting day in that I managed to keep it free of appointments, and today is all about apparel. It's been a long time since I put any real time and effort into apparel, and it's time to get some stuff going. I've got a bunch of notes, a bunch of things that are going to happen. So for those of you who have been watching whistlekick.com saying, when's Jeremy going to release some new stuff? You better believe after today, there's going to be a ton of new stuff. I'll be working on that for a good 6 hours, and I got a lot of ideas, so we'll see what happens. Coffee is good. I've switched back to a different pour over, and that coupled with really good coffee is making some great coffee. Here's the last thing that I'm going to share, because I like to share kind of new stuff with you all. I'm experimenting with something. It's only been a couple weeks, but so far it seems to be working. It's a tablet. Well, Jeremy, a tablet's not really an experiment. Here's the thing. I moved all of the social media apps, all of the things that really distract me and steal focus and mess with my head, off my phone, and onto this tablet. Facebook is not on my phone anymore. It's on the tablet. And so if I travel somewhere, if I go, it only has Wi-Fi. I have to try to use it. No more of this. I pick up my phone because I need to do something, and I get hit with all of these notifications that stress me out. Now, it's only been a couple weeks, but so far it has made a huge difference in my level of anxiety. I had only theorized that it was these apps that were messing with me. I am now quite certain that it is having an impact. How strong an impact? I can't say yet, but I'm pretty sure it's substantial. Now, if you have multiple devices, you might want to give something like this a try. This weekend, Jenny says she's trying to wrangle her kids together so they can finally celebrate Matt's birthday properly. His birthday was 2 weeks ago. LOL. It stinks having older kids who work. Yeah, I get that. Got the chat with Matt this week about some Whistlekick stuff and then some non-Whistlekick stuff. I don't know what this is on my table. So I guess I didn't wipe it down as well as I thought I did. All righty. Let us see what Frank sent over. I did not prepare for that. See, this is the problem of not being in a habit, that I forget things. I am using my good computer, though. Where are we? We got this one. We got jokes, and we got some quotes, and I'm going to share some jokes, and I'm going to read them to you, and you're going to laugh, and it's going to be awesome. Oof. All right, we got to zoom in on that. The jokes for Fun Day Friday. I couldn't find anything better to joke about, so I revert to my old standby Chuck Norris. Chuck Norris once shattered the space-time continuum. He felt so bad, he put it back together. Mission Impossible was originally set in Chuck Norris' house. Chuck Norris uses pepper spray to season his meat. Chuck Norris plays Jenga with Stonehenge. Chuck Norris is able to slam a revolving door. Chuck Norris has a diary. It's called the Guinness Book of World Records. Chuck Norris can dribble a bowling ball. When the Tooth Fairy comes to your house, she takes your tooth and gives you money. When Chuck Norris comes to your house, he breaks your tooth and takes your money. Chuck Norris won an arm wrestling tournament with both arms tied behind his back. When Chuck Norris lifts weights, the weights get in shape. If Chuck Norris were to travel to an alternate dimension in which there was another Chuck Norris and they both fought, they would both win. Chuck Norris beat the sun in a staring contest. Chuck Norris destroyed the periodic table because Chuck Norris only recognizes the element of surprise. Chuck Norris doesn't breathe. He holds air hostage. Chuck Norris wrecked his bicycle and skimmed the sidewalk with his knee. Chuck Norris doesn't get frostbite. Chuck Norris bites frost. It is considered a great accomplishment to go down Niagara Falls in a wooden barrel. Chuck Norris can go up Niagara Falls in a cardboard box. Didn't read that well. That's a good one. Some great stuff in there. Thank you, as always, to Frank. Thank you, Frank. And, of course, thank you to Josh for our theme song and to Denise for the audio. Jenny was excited for the Chuck Norris jokes, and Dennis liked element of surprise. Yeah. Some good stuff there. You know, I don't know if you know the history of the Chuck Norris jokes, but originally he rejected them. He tried suing the people who came up with them. I think it was a book. And somebody, if I remember the story correctly, somebody close to him said, hold on, this is actually really good. Just chill. And I don't know if he's leaned into them. There was it a Sprite commercial? So at least he's okay with it. But I hope at some point Chuck Norris does jokes as from the first person. I don't get frostbite. I bite frost. Right? That would be funny. That would be really funny to see Chuck Norris do that. Jenny's throwing a bonus one our way. Chuck Norris once kicked a horse in the chin. Its descendants today are known as giraffes. Good times. Oh, I vaguely remember that. Thank you, Jenny. Jenny says that Chuck Norris made a Chuck Norris joke in The Expendables 2. They're working on a 4, aren't they? There are so many movies I haven't seen that have come out in the last year. It's kind of crazy. Movies that I really want to see. I just haven't made time. All right. Now we've got, on top of the jokes, we got the quotes. Let's see where these take us. Jenny says that Expendables 4 is out on September 22nd. There you go. The only question is whether you're going to do it today or tomorrow. If you keep saying you're going to do it tomorrow, you'll never do it. You have to get on it today. Warren Buffett. So here's my thought on that. We do a really good job of knowing what we need to do, want to do, should do. Most people do a pretty good job of that. It is rarely a lack of understanding of what to do that sets someone back. It is a willingness to commit to getting it done. And so here's what happens. We have been raised to be productive and get work done and check these boxes. But we've been raised to do that in such a way that longer tasks require a tremendous amount of discipline, and we avoid them. If I said, hey, here are 2 lists. One has 12 things on it that you could get done today, and the other has one big thing that's going to take you a month. very few people are going to take the month-long thing. And here's the problem. That month-long thing is probably the thing that actually makes a difference. You've likely heard the phrase, people major in minor things. This is what it's talking about. We are looking for, just in the same way as social media, talked about with the phone and the notifications. We get a little boost from checking off that box and calling that task done. And we convince ourselves that it's really important, but it's usually not. One of the things that has made a difference in my life, and I continue to work on, it continues to make a difference for Whistlekick, is identifying what are the things that actually move the ball forward. Not the simple things, not the things that I can get done right now today. It's not about me. It's about the mission. What supports the mission? This is why you need to have a why, a strong why. Because if your why is, well, because I show up and they pay me, you're going to do as little as possible. If your why is because I want to be senior vice president of whatever, that requires a different approach. See what I'm saying? Jenny says, well, doesn't the month-long thing take steps to complete? Couldn't that also be a bunch of small steps? It could be. It absolutely could be. Depends on how you choose to look at it and break it up. For example, I mentioned I'm working on apparel today. I could have down on my list, I need to make 3 new sweatshirts and 5 new t-shirts, and those could be individual tasks if I wanted them to be. But I don't think of them that way. Because I'm not done when I make a couple sweatshirts or a few t-shirts. I'm done when we have a set of apparel that people are enjoying and buying. And I will keep throwing time at it until I get that right. That's one of the challenges. I don't know exactly what the finished product looks like. I could speculate on it, but if I knew exactly what it was going to be, I probably would have already done it now. I know people, I used to be one of these people who would say, okay, well, let me do some math. How many sweatshirts? Okay, we can have this many sweatshirts and this many t-shirts. And then the goal becomes getting those done as quickly as possible. I don't want to get them done as quickly as possible. I want to get a complete set of apparel out there in a way that makes people happy, in a way that people part with their money in exchange for it. It's a different priority. I could also say, I'm going to keep making apparel until we find the next, 5 things that are received the way the Dragon hoodies were, and it leads to X dollars in sales. Because that really is the goal. It's not about numbers of shirts. Next. If you cannot control your emotions, you cannot control your money. Warren Buffett. I was having a conversation as a guest on someone's podcast yesterday. We actually went for 2 hours because it was great stuff. This is somebody who's been on the show that I think very highly of. I guess I could say it. Chris Hansen. Chris Hansen had me on his show, Karate Unity, and we talked about a lot of different stuff. And one of the things we were talking about was one of the less tangible benefits of martial arts training is emotional control. And I think that this is one of the major components when we look at highly functioning individuals, whether we're talking high-level athletes, high-level executives, etc. They've got martial arts training, and not just a little bit. That they put in enough time to really learn some stuff, whether we think about it in terms of rank or not. And I know a lot of martial artists who get really emotional about a lot of things at other people's, input, right? Somebody says the wrong thing, and this person who's been supposedly been training 30, 40, 50 years gets really bent out of shape. I think you missed some lessons. This is why there has to be a difficult component. This is why a really good instructor will see your edges, your boundaries, and push you to them. And not just once or twice, but periodically. A good instructor is a jerk sometimes. They can be a jerk with a smile on their face. But being a jerk, I think it's part of the job. A good teacher of anything recognizes the value of, let's call it the finished product, or even better, the lesson. A good teacher will do whatever they have to do to get you that lesson. A good teacher doesn't just teach everybody the same way and say, you didn't get the lesson, it's your fault. If somebody wants to learn and the teacher cannot convey that lesson, that's on the teacher. The only thing the student should be expected to do is to show up and be willing. Teacher's got to do everything else. What's our last quote for today? You don't need to have extraordinary effort to achieve extraordinary results. You just need to do the ordinary, everyday things exceptionally well. Warren Buffett. We talk about 1% better. If we want to borrow a financial concept from Mr. Buffett, we're looking for efforts that will grow and reinvest. Right? I'm a bit more of a fan of dividend stocks than he is. He tends to look for strongly capitalized companies that will grow and can weather storms. But he's also playing in a whole different arena than I am when it comes to investing. Like, oh, I just bought $5 of this. And he'll buy, $5 billion of the same thing. It's okay. I'm a better martial artist than Warren Buffett. I'm fairly confident in saying that. Imagine a world where that wasn't true. Where Warren Buffett was, Chuck Norris. It's actually kind of funny. I might get an AI graphics generator to envision that. That would be funny. Well, we're almost at the end here. One of the things I've started doing in the morning, I'm going to throw this out there as a little bit of a challenge to you, because I believe in the benefits of exercise in the morning. However, I don't like exercising in the morning. I never have. I like how it feels after, but because I enjoy working out. To me, working out is something that I do at the end of the day, and it kind of celebrates the finish of work. But I looked for a compromise. I do some burpees when I get out of bed, get up, restroom, and then the first thing I do is I do burpees. I started with 10, and I'm up to 13. And the idea is just to get a little bit of movement. Gets my heart rate up quite a bit. That's what I'm looking for. I want my heart rate. So I've got to sit down after. But it's a pretty good thing. It doesn't have to be burpees for you, but you might want to consider that. How long are you awake through your day before you get your heart rate really up? And I don't mean up as a result of caffeine or up as a result of, stress. I mean movement. Something to think about. I'm always going to share this stuff with you all. And I appreciate you being here. Thank you for coming by. Thank you for your support. Take a look. You're probably going to get an email, assuming you're on the newsletter list, later today announcing all of the new apparel. I am probably not going to be able to put all of the apparel in the email because it's going to be a lot. But maybe I will. I don't know. We'll see. Oh, Dennis, stop it. I will not accept that from you. Dennis says at my age, just getting out of bed is movement and a win. I call BS on you, my friend. I don't care. I don't care what the calendar says. You don't get to say that. You are in too good a shape. So stay tuned for more new apparel and other things from Whistlekick. Make sure Marshall Summit is on your calendar. If you can make it to either free training day, I hope those are on your calendar. And yeah, stay tuned. Take care, everybody. Peace.